we will be looking at Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio. Here we go.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Over there! What is that?
Papa! It speaks!
He's just a puppet!
No, I'm not. I'm a real boy!
So this is the third Pinocchio movie that got released, and it's by far the best, although I wouldn't say this is as great as I've seen on other reviewing sites or people that have reviewed it. I think it's pretty good, but not great. So the only thing really holding this back from being great for me is just the story. I feel like the story is pretty good, but it's not at the level it needs to be. It's a little scatter plot for me. Like, we're going here, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here. I feel like there was a way to write this story where it's a little bit smoother and more clean. Although I feel like it's fairly well told. It's not like unbearable or horrible. Like I said, this movie's good. I think the story is part of that. I would say the very beginning is really strong, but once they move out of that very first Italian town, small town, it kind of gets a little rough for me. I just wish it was a little bit more contained, I guess. But that's the only problem I have with this movie. It is by far better than the other two. It's crazy what you can do when you have a decent budget and you don't hold them back from doing what they want to do. So that might be a little bit of a shot at Disney, but it's true. Disney holds back their projects sometimes, and it's cool to see that some of these properties that are Disney owned for the longest time are no longer Disney owned, and people can actually make good stuff with them that Disney refuses to do. What makes this so good is how it was made, the art style, the claymation was brilliant. Also, the story is a little bit darker, but I'll get into that later. The claymation, it's absolutely beautiful. The way it's made is so unique. I wouldn't like it if it was made all the time like this, but because it stands out, because it's so hard, I think you appreciate it a little bit. Netflix also put out a whole show about like how they went about making this and all the faults in it and the process of making it, which was very interesting in its own remarks. But that's what made it for me, was how beautiful it was, how they added like the animated parts to the claymation, how they did the claymation, what the claymation looks like. I look back in the past of other claymation stuff, and this is absolutely gorgeous. There are a couple parts in this where they're out on the ocean, and you know what parts are like real physical things that they're shooting with the camera and what's animated in the background, and the combination and how they like flow together is absolutely gorgeous. Also, with the storytelling kind of combined with this, gives it that dark, unique, kind of mysterious like feel to it. It adds a lot to the story, which I really appreciate, and I think that's why people give it such high praise, is because it's so unique and interesting. You don't get to see this kind of like craftsmanship that often. Say claymation, I really mean stop motion animation. I guess they use more stuff than just clay in this movie, although at parts it's claymation, and explain that in like the special about how this movie was made, which was very interesting. But going back into like the story, what I did appreciate was it seemed more true to the origins of Pinocchio, way more than what Disney has done with their live action movie. It's a little bit darker. It takes place after World War One, going into World War Two. Well, I guess through World War Two, and it talks about how Giulietto lost his son at the very beginning, and it's sad, and it kind of has that Pixar feel to it. I just watched Wall-E a little bit ago, and it kind of reminds me of that movie, how it just feels different, and it has that beginning that's just sad. I guess up too. It's just sad, right? At the beginning. I don't think this holds out like after like the first like third of the movie. Like when they moved to the other places, I kind of lost interest. I felt like the story was a little slow. What kept me going though was like how it was made, the craftsmanship there, how beautiful it was, And it's not like a complete dud, it just wasn't as strong as I was hoping for. So, what I'll say is this is much better than most or all of the other Pinocchio movies. I think other reviewers get lost in how beautiful it is and forget how important story is to film, how it kind of moves everything. Although this is clearly one of the prettiest movies I've seen in a while with a very unique art style. I would give this an 85 overall. I think it's pretty fair rating. I mean, the story is not completely bad, but it's not great. I think giving it like in those 90 plus is an overreaction. But I will always appreciate unique takes and doing something different, which this is. And I have less offense to kind of overrating it if it's different or unique because you should appreciate those things. So, those are my reactions to this film. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know how you compare this to other ones. It's clearly better in my book, but maybe you secretly like Disney's live action version or the Russian version. So let me know what you see and what you think. And I'll see you all next time. Ciao.